Okay, listen. I want y'all to understand something real quick. In order for us to have any future hope at all, you must first understand this concept. First, it's just something I wrote called Future Hope. You just listen to it and you understand what I'm talking about. It starts with this thing. Let me let you in on a simple concept about what makes the world a great place for all of mankind to live in harmony. Because everything on earth is totally connected to the next thing. I mean, I came to a conclusion that I personally need people in order to better my chances of survival. So whether you want to hear what I have to say or not, it is of no consequence to me. But I would rather you hear me out because each individual have a grave importance to me, since I need each person on earth to better my chances of living a good and prosperous life. Racism was and still is the greatest institution that helps the people keep themselves separate from each other because there is strength in numbers, and since no one can get past the color, class, creed, religion, culture, and nationality of the individuals, we will continue to be separated and ultimately conquered by our oppressors. Understand something. Our nation wanted to be unified for this very same purpose, that a country divided would be easier to conquer than a united one. So why haven't the average citizen seen this as an opportunity to unite the entire country against oppressive governments? The militia has the right idea, except most of them are white supremacists who have also failed to realize that it takes the whole nation to fight back the oppressors. We can become brothers in arms only when you wise up to understand that you all can't do it by yourselves. Stop blaming the folks who come into this country illegally because they can be an ally against an unfair leadership in this country. Once you come to understand that every human being has the right to live their lifetime to its fullest, the faster you will begin to understand their reason for coming to the land of the free and the home of the brave. The home of the brave may be a stretch since our government leaders have sent troops to bully people of other nations who can't properly defend themselves. I mean, think. The CIA trained some of these nations with military weapons and tactics in order to learn the ways of the American savage because to them it was essential to save their people, their rights, and their land from those who wish to seize control over it. I have found that this knowledge I discovered on my own makes outside nations look at the American civilian as arrogant, heartless pricks who don't care about anyone else other than their own frivolous so-called important lifestyle. The American man has to make a certain amount of money, depending on the individual woman that their ideal man has to make, or have to be a pretty boy or both. This is ridiculous since the average good man has none of these qualities. Our nation is among the most developed in technology, industry, and commerce, but when it comes to human relations, we are far, far below the minimum than it should be. Don't believe me? Wait until the news does a segment based on politeness among civilians in America where they search for until the when they search for people who still commit acts of kindness. Men opening doors for a woman or giving their seat to a woman on a bus. Do women even thank the man for such chivalry? And the fact that such an experiment is even conducted only proves that humanitarianism is on a decline at a rapid pace in America. In this inhumane society, many people are so wrapped up in unimportant activity that we no longer care about our fellow neighbor who may be struggling and in desperate need of our help. Not everyone will request the help due to pride, because if you are doing good enough to help them, they may want to find their own way to achieve. It's nothing personal, but a person who wants to be able to rely on anyone else but themselves is simple because it's safer. It keeps them from falling into a form of slavery. If a person in need of your help, eventually they will ask, and you should make sure to tell them how they can sustain themselves on their own with the knowledge you give them. Nobody wants to be a slave to anybody. They are just as much a human as you are, no matter how tempting it may seem. You wouldn't want anyone taking advantage of you. Never do that to anyone, since you wouldn't want it done to you. People as a whole need to come together and stand as one unit against any who are so willing to get rid of our rights so they could better protect the people of this nation. Sounds like the biggest and best scam since the United Nations. Let me let you all in on a little secret. As long as we bicker and fight against each other over other things as petty as a person's skin color, we will never be able to overcome any entity who will inevitably make all people of this nation into willing slaves. For those who want to know, I am an African American black man from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, and I don't give a shit what race you are or where you come from. All I know is that you are essential to my need to live a good and prosperous life, which means I can't hate anybody because of color, social class, race, creed, religion, nationality, origin, and or cultural background. I only hate those who haven't come to the same conclusion that I have come to, because these people are a danger to my life and many, many others. Ignorant is the person who doesn't see the beauty in differences. For difference, not commonness, is the tool most used to learn from each other. The world is full of beauty, both seen and unseen. Ugliness is even beauty, for this helps us to appreciate the beauty we come across on a daily basis. I try to get people to understand and to look at things as realistically as possible without wondering what it could be or might be or should be, because it is what it is and that's what it's going to be. Fantasies don't fit in the world of reality, so let it go, ladies, and get with the program, for you all are the ones who are most under attack. Women produce babies. Understanding this fact and the fact that the establishment wants to reduce the world's population, just think of what is the easiest way to do that. It all has to do with women. First, large populations of women have been destroyed in order to make population reduction achievable. In China, there are 30 million more men than women, according to Alex Jones's Endgame. I mean, not every woman sees kids as a burden they rather not deal with, and they also have to sterilize either the rest of the women and or men to ensure no babies can be reproduced. The only thing about this is the fact that woman, for the first time in her life, would see what it feels like to become obsolete, like how they help to do to all men. But that's another story for another time now. Men, take good care of each other and live up to your role as a man and protect and defend your future when you help to bring life into a world filled with deceit and destruction. So what if the woman stole your purpose of being the financial provider for the family? They still need us to defend their rights as people, because we know that they won't be able to do it to do this successfully by themselves, regardless to what they say. Not every woman will fight back with numerous guns in their faces, for the women are the most under attack. You should never give up or give in to their will and stop caring about each other, because every single person is important. You hear stories like this happening during war, where a person didn't like a person or group of people because of that person's background, only to end up being saved by the same person or group and end up changing their whole attitude about that person or group of persons, simply because they realized that all they thought about the persons have now been put to end, because their very life was saved by the persons who they hated so much. The institution of hatred is the biggest and most successful form of distraction that has ever been created, and it only helps to destroy everyone as a whole, because one side will refuse to help the other, but will soon find out that allowing the annihilation of one group lessens the number of people to help defend the other groups. If the Ku Klux Klan wants to see the destruction of the African American and Jewish nations, then who would be there to help defend them when they become victims of the same attacks that they so willingly let happen to other ethnic groups? Greed doesn't see or care about race, creed, religion, and etc., because they only stand to gain riches by the destruction of as many people as possible. Racism doesn't matter to these people, but it was important to implement the seed of racism because it helps to segregate people into smaller pockets instead of a strong, powerful nation of one civilization. That helps them to eliminate each smaller quantity, one community at a time. Black people have been under this kind of attack for so long that when we hear of it being spreaded to them, we quickly think it's about time they're getting what they deserve, or now they finally see what we've been going through for all these years, which has been derived from anger we have felt watching how the justice system turned its gaze from us when we need justice, but then watch us intently when judgment is being handed down to us. Nobody deserves to endure what we as a black nation have endured for centuries, and I would like to think that you wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy without being moved to tears watching another person being tortured like we were. We as a nation should never want anyone to go through such a traumatizing life. I know I couldn't bear to see anyone being hung for any reason. To hear a person's neck snap, or worse, to hear them choke to death struggling to breathe. I would like to think that no one could sit there and witness such horrors, but alas, there were. People really need to read their history with shame, because a lot of the things that happen and work on ways to make sure those horrors never be put to use ever again. To kill someone makes both the killer and the victim's family more cold of heart as time passes, so we should think of better ways to handle problems with violence put on the back burner, reserved when it is absolutely necessary. Some may even argue that now is the perfect time, and I couldn't agree more, since they have every intention on destroying us without a single thought of remorse. Coming to such an understandings has given me nightmares, only because I believe if we don't act now, today, then all hope is lost, along with the lives of billions of people who don't deserve to die in such unspeakable manners. And it's a great possibility it will happen if we don't stand up and fight as brothers of the same cause, for the freedom to live life. You need to know you must do whatever it takes to ensure your own safety and the safety of your loved ones. Don't think this is just some kind of joke. I'm serious and truly feel that the world over need to know about this, because it's not just the American citizens that are under attack, but all nations all over the world that will be subjected to such processes as the depopulation program, where it proved successful to the Chinese government. We really need to come together as a whole with the rest of the world to stop these atrocities from ever occurring. But we must first start by informing the public of what will happen in the near future, whether they believe it or not, because each individual is of the utmost importance for the survival of the citizens all over the world. I will even leave you with a list of books and videos that you can read and watch and figure it out for yourselves, that this is no game that I'm playing with anyone, because like I said, I truly believe that my life is at stake and I need people to help me live better under such dire circumstances. Look at these videos and read these books filled with people who came to the same understanding I have, and that larger groups of people can fight together to stop the ongoing threat that threatens our lives as a whole. Please help each other and send this message to everyone you know and love, for they are very important for your and my survival for a better tomorrow.